Just give it to me. Unbeknownst to Lenin, he's sort of walking into a fight that has been happening already for a while. Like I said, he was reading about sort of these early divisions in the socialist movement, but Iskra was supposed to be this sort of early united front of guys who were all very committed to getting a revolution going in Russia. But almost immediately, he realizes that Plekhanov represents the old guard. He is about a generation older than Lenin, and he has been an expat of Russia for like 30 years, hasn't been home in a long time. So he represents sort of an older guard of Marxists who, yes, want something to happen in Russia, but are more writing about it from like an intellectual standpoint.
Yeah.
And Lenin and Martov represent the younger guard, where they are recent expats from Russia, and they are eager to get back there, take down the Tsar, and make some shit happen.
Dude, this is just, like, not good, like, policy. Like,
What do you mean?
you keep sending all these people out, and they're just like, I'm gonna fucking get you, dude. Just give me 4 years.
I know, it's really...
Like, why didn't they execute people? I mean, I don't want that,
Yeah,
but, like...
it's very interesting, like, when these different imperial governments would decide to sort of wield death as a tactic, as opposed to just, like, shooing people away. Like, even fucking Napoleon. Like, that guy destroyed most of Europe, and by the time they got him to a point where they beat him in battle, they're like, okay, we're gonna send you to an island that's very close to us. Don't try to come back and do anything, though. And then he comes back like a year later and tries to do it again. It's like, yeah, what the fuck did you expect? And even then, they just sent him to an island that was farther away.
Yeah. I mean, he lost Wilson in the first one coming back.
Yeah, and that was devastating for him, obviously. They had formed a bond. So Trotsky comes in, and he immediately gloms onto the Lenin-Martov younger group. He's a fiery young individual. He's only 23 years old at this point.
Jesus Christ, dude. I was like, I couldn't do anything at 23.
Right? This dude has already been exiled to Siberia, had 2 kids, left in a hay wagon, changed his name, and is now, like, one of the most prolific revolutionary writers.
I couldn't even, like, not snore when we lived in the same room at 23. And this guy's got 2 kids, and he's fucking starting a revolution.
But very early on, Trotsky becomes this compromising voice of reason between the two factions, between the old guard and the new guard. He's obviously very attached to Lenin, but he also, I don't know. It's tough because there's this break between Plekhanov, Lenin, and Martov, but then there also pretty quickly becomes a break between Lenin and Martov, because they sort of seize control of the entire socialist movement. Iskra is like this one thing that is very popular. Then they go to the People's, like, Socialist whatever group of all of Europe. The Iskra Council takes over that, and then almost immediately there's this division between Lenin and Martov that will go on to become the division of the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks, which sort of defines the Russian Revolution for the next 2 decades. And throughout all of that, Trotsky is sort of this guy stuck in the middle who is trying to compromise between both, seize the strengths of both, etc., etc. This seems like a good place to stop for the first episode. We've gone from little Lev Bronstein to Leon Trotsky, 23 years old. He's probably got his mustache and famous goatee at this point.
I hope so.
God, I hope so, because he looks weird without it.
It's like a little baby. He's 23.
And I hope, I don't know, did the background stuff on Russia, did that seem like it helped to frame at least where we're at? Do you feel like you need more info on, like, where things are at?
No, I've been watching a ton of, like, very obscure YouTube videos with my roommate about the Russian Revolution.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'll intercut with him explaining a bunch of stuff to me as well.
Yeah. I do want to say, because I tried recently, one of our listeners actually reached out to me because months and months, maybe even years ago, I think I said, "Oh, I wish there was like a good history of Russia, like how Russia from the revolution got to where it is now, I guess." And somebody very kindly sent me a long list of YouTube videos, which I clicked on some of them, and they were like 3 hours long, and I was like, "Oh boy." And then sent me a link to a podcast that I went and listened to a few episodes of, and one of them was about Stalin, and it was like a big deep dive on Stalin. And this is like a far right socialist podcast. And I was like, this is going to be interesting because you always get the bad side of Stalin. And I was like, I think that's deserved. So let's see what this podcast has to say. And it was educational, but I also got annoyed because I felt like they wanted to make excuses for Stalin because they want, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like when your favorite guy fucks up a bunch. And you're like, yeah, he fucked up, but like, you know, people always like put a lot, like when he fucked up, it was actually like a lot of people fucking up, and he was just the figurehead.
He was a big part of it.
Yeah.
But,
Like,
I mean,
so like when the bad stuff happened, that was like actually not just him, that was a bunch of people, but like when the good stuff happened, that was like mostly just him. So I don't know. I just want to get ahead of it and say, like, this is not going to be a love fest on Trotsky. I think he is an interesting figure, at times a sympathetic figure, and has a lot of interesting ideas, but he is by no means a perfect guy. We'll get to him being imperfect in the next episode. So next week we're going to talk about his role in the revolutions of 1905 and 1917 and the formation of his personal brand of Marxist revolution, which would be known aptly as Trotskyism.
Yeah, and after this whole mini-series, go on Twitter and cancel him.
Yeah, cancel my ass.
No, not you.
Oh, Trotsky? Oh.
Yeah, he's got a Twitter, right?
Yeah. I don't want to ruin the surprise for you, but my man's been canceled. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Connor, do you have anything you want to plug? Any peanut brands?
No.
Or...
A peanut? Oh, well, I mean, a baby nut. It's still on my mind. This is literally going to be like 3 weeks of
just baby nut.
Them hearing about us saying baby nut. It's not even going to be funny anymore by the second week.
Yeah, we're going to find out, like, in a week that baby nut killed somebody. We're going to be, like, in very poor taste making all these jokes.
Oh, God, I hope not. All right, I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Game over.